Welcome, welcome, welcome to Visual Testaments VTTV today. Today we have a very awesome interview. I'm pretty excited about this one because the people that we are going to be interviewing are so impactful. These leaders have greatly impacted Tim and my life. And so we wanted to introduce to you the great leadership from Langley Leadership Group. Are you excited about this,
I'm
honey?
excited about this because these are our dear friends.
So we're going to go ahead and turn it over to Dr. Randal Langley. He founded Langley Leadership Group and the co-founder, Laurie Langley.
Hi, y'all. We're so glad to be with you today. Thanks, Tim and Donna, for having us on VTTV.
Yes, absolutely. We love what you guys are doing and appreciate the opportunity to kind of share how we're able to impact lives through Langley Leadership Group.
That's amazing. So, we're talking about Langley Leadership Group today, and we're excited about, what kind of unpacking what it does, who it serves, and all that stuff. So, so what is Langley's leadership, and who benefits from it?
Well, we're in the business of changing people's lives, and that happens from the inside out, from our perspective, not the outside in. Traditional training can't do that. Traditional education can't do that. Consulting can't do that. Just more information can't do that. Technology can't do that. AI can't do that. That's a big buzzword today. Only an internal development process that's based on changed behaviors, changed attitudes, and an effective process. That's a big word for us, an effective process of setting and reaching goals that are aligned with a clearly defined mission. That's the only thing that we'll do. So organizations, businesses, individuals are partnering with Langley Leadership Group because what we do is different than traditional, seat time, tests and assessments, that type of thing, which is more along the lines of traditional education. Ours is more actually what we would call outcome-based training and development, where you work through specific processes and you don't move forward until the competency and the results are evident. So you're not just moving forward and saying, oh, I got a grade, I did this, I did that. It's really about a return on investment where you see specific tangible results. So for an individual or a business, that could be productivity, that could be profit, it could be, what we call KPIs, key performance indicators, right? Mm-hmm. So we help you discover what are your high payoff activities and help you eliminate low payoff activities that suck your time and waste your time. In fact, one of the things that we often find when we're working with people is they will start off a conversation with, I don't have time for that. I'd love to do that, but I don't have time. Mm-hmm. Well, that's a clear indicator that they desperately need what we have to offer, because it will transform and change their lives, because we all have the same amount of time. So it's really a life-giving opportunity for transformation. And at the end of the day, helping people maximize their potential, fulfill their God-given purpose and calling, and walk with them in that process.
I think process is the key word. We believe that there's so much that people know, and certainly in the circles that we have been blessed to run in so far in our lives, people are investing in themselves, conferences and, education and experiences like that. And on the other side of that line or that spectrum would be what they hope to accomplish, what they believe they're supposed to accomplish, that what they believe God would want them to do, or what their business is purposed to do. What we do is, in between those two things, we provide the process to help you get there. And I think we're both really, really passionate about that. And we started this last year, have already had the opportunity to work with many individuals and organizations and start them down this road of achieving I got to work with one LA-based organization just yesterday, and I just love it. I think they're doing such a great work and building such a great team, and what we're doing with Langley Leadership Group is already bringing them benefits. So it's very rewarding on both sides.
Yeah. One of the questions that you asked of us beforehand was, why did we create Langley Leadership Group? It seems like there's so many others out there, and they use the words coaching, life coaching, consulting, education, and all those things are great. We're not here to poo-poo any of those things. But when I finished my second doctoral degree in strategic leadership, there was just something that just came alive in me, realizing, like Laurie's referring to here, the gap that exists between education, traditional education, and application. So, you can go to a lot of people's libraries in their home and they got books, galore. Now, I have probably 1 million books, digital copies now. I couldn't fit them all in my house. So a lot of us read a lot, we read books, and we appreciate the knowledge that comes from those books.
Yeah.
But just because you can read books and maybe get a nugget here, a nugget there, doesn't mean that it's transforming your life. And so the gap between what you know and what you do and the outcome, we could say your dream, your vision, what you want to see happen in your life or in your organization or in your business, that gap can be huge. And so what happens is you have a lot of amazing people, wonderful people, gifted people, passionate people who, like Laurie said, know a lot, but they're not seeing the results. They're not seeing the outcome. And so that gap is the application, taking the knowledge that they have, transforming that, translating that into clearly defined process. So sometimes it's not what people, it's not that they don't know what, it's they don't know how. And so,
and making the investment to get there.
Yeah, because they still have to put the work in. But again, a competency-based type development system like what we use is all about moving people through the process to help them apply what they know to get where they want to go. So it's different, it's unique, it's a lot of fun, but they do have to put the work in.
Yeah.
There's no like silver bullet. It's like, Tim, your physical training background, you know a lot, and people can read books about it, but that doesn't mean they're doing it. And another illustration I like to use is swimming, right? You can get people in a classroom, teach them the history of swimming, teach them the techniques of swimming, teach them the strokes of swimming, teach them everything about swimming, and they can pass the test, boom, and maybe earn a degree. I'm a professional swimmer degree. But take them out and throw them in the deep end of the pool if they've never swum before, and now we're going to have a different set of circumstances, right? So again, we concentrate on that outcome, and so that people can see a return that, yes, this is what I was looking for, and this has made the difference in accomplishing my goals and objectives and fulfilling my purpose.
So it's incredible because it sounds like, you guys are helping people identify who they are and help them apply what they have learned to kind of translate into helping them get to where they want to go.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. And so passionate about the benefits of that, how leaders, when they take this journey with us, bring their organization in as well, bring their top level leaders in as well, take the journey with us, how they benefit, their team benefits, their organization benefits, and specific benefits would be obviously productivity and efficiency, but I like to start with morale. I like to start with retention, less turnover. I like to start with fulfillment on the job. I like to start with the impact that a healthy team has on each other, and then on the organization that they serve. Obviously, we got this quote, I think, years ago from John Maxwell: everything rises and falls on the basis of leadership. And Craig Groeschel is known for saying, when the leader gets better, everybody wins, right? So if you listen to him, you've heard that a million times, but it's so true. So the investment that leaders make in themselves and in their team, certainly their leadership team, a lot of times in organizations, churches, as well as corporate organizations, the leader leads the leadership team. The leader leads the top level leaders, and they lead the organization. So if you're investing in yourself, you're investing in your top level leaders. And again, this is measurable growth that we're talking about. The benefits are measurable. The benefits are felt by everyone in the organization, and everybody wins. But that doesn't happen day after tomorrow. It happens in a process.
Yeah. To be a top performing organization, business, entrepreneur, ministry, you have to create a leadership culture that, and you do that by incorporating what we believe are proven, systematic learning and leadership development processes. And that's got to be, and the other thing is too, modern learning is different than learning of yesteryear. And that's why, a lot of what I keep using this terminology, competency-based learning, which is actually much more of a European model of learning that they've embraced much more than the Western, our US-based model, which is more of a, like I said, more of a traditional seat time, testing, assessments, writing. So what you have a lot of times is people who are very gifted and smart. They can take tests, they can read, they can write, but when you throw them out in the street, they can't do anything because there's not that application component to it. So that's a game changer. It makes a huge difference.
Guys, did he just say yesteryear?
He did. And I love that you're talking about that because in regards to what you brought up, Laurie, is, the process. I love that you guys, I feel like we've got to be a part of and witness a lot of how effective, Langley Leadership Group is at creating a healthy morale. And the process, you guys are so patient in the process of explaining the details of what it looks like applicably, which I think was for us a missing link, to understand the lingo. Like lingo for some people in different leadership realms is different. And what actually relatively looks like application for Donna may be completely different for Tim. I love that you guys have great products and services, the tools that you have, the programs that you have. They're so vast. Can you touch on one of the tools that you help lead?
Well, everything starts, of course, with we offer a free initial company or individual needs assessment and a consultation to determine if or how we can best serve you. I think that has to start right there. And then we do have some very unique programs to offer depending on, what that needs assessment shows us and what a person's objectives and goals are.
Right.
We have, we're a premier partner and franchise with Leadership Management International as well. And they've been around for 60 years. They're in 90 countries, 30 different languages. And they're a professional development organization. And a lot of your Fortune 500 companies, Ford, GM, IBM, a lot of organizations that we had all recognized, they've been the training and development arm of a lot of those companies. So we're bringing world-class professional resources. I want people to feel like we're making these things up off the top of our head.
Right.
These have been proven,
right,
time-tested, and are utilized by C-suite level leaders, and mid-managers all the way down through an organization, right? Ministries and so forth. So one of the programs that we offer is called the Total Leader Program. And that consists of 4 unique courses, if you will, or modules. One is called Personal Productivity, which really is the foundation of all leadership.
Right. Leading yourself.
Leading yourself.
Yeah.
And then there's personal leadership, effective motivational leadership, and effective strategic leadership. So all of those combined equal what we call the total leader, and they encompass the whole person, your health life, your business life, your family life, your spiritual life, all these things that, because we're not just, we emphasize certain things at certain times, but we're a total person. And so you want to be the total leader. And then, of course, I'm passionate about church leadership and helping churches fulfill, their mission. And so I started this thing called the Jethro Project, which is really all the total leader programs with the addition of my years of experience in church leadership, understanding the unique nuances and challenges that come in a spiritual environment. And so that's based on Exodus 18, where Moses is the leader of Israel, and they come out of Egypt and they're excited, they get delivered from Egypt. And then Moses' father-in-law named Jethro shows up and meets them, and he watches Moses and he goes, hold up, time out. If you keep doing this way, it's not going to be good. You're going to kill yourself. You're going to burn yourself out, and you're going to wear out all the people. So all Jethro did was introduce some new perspective, a new way of thinking, some new systems, a new way to do, and he set Moses up for success.
Right.
He didn't take charge. He didn't take over and boot Moses out. He walked alongside him and loaned his understanding of leadership to Moses so that Moses could be successful. So that's what the Jethro Project is. And I thought about as a young leader, I could have used a Jethro to come into my life. And actually, God did send me
He did.
quality Jethros at the right time. So I want to be that type of man that is a Jethro to these leaders. And then the working genius has to do with the process of how work gets done. Right.
Yeah.
And Laurie's a certified working genius facilitator, and she does an amazing job with that part of our company. Do you want to share something?
I do, because I'm very passionate about it. One of the things that that led into this discussion right now, this part of this discussion, is the idea of a leadership culture.
Yeah.
And so these things that Randal's covered in the Jethro Project and in our Leadership Management International resources that we use with leaders and with organizations, there's also the working genius. So that would be the third part, I guess, of what we do in Langley Leadership Group right now. And so working genius is all about the process of work, how work gets done. And you can't let me go too long, because I can talk all day long about working genius, but I so believe in the benefits of it. It's been out between 3 and 4 years now. It's been engaged with. Just this week, I got an email from the head of our organization that said 1 million people now, just over 1 million people, we passed the 1 million mark this week, have taken the Working Genius assessment. And so there's so many people, so many organizations that are working now with Working Genius, this tool that helps people get healthy and helps teams get healthy and be more productive and be more satisfied in the work that they do together. So
it's probably the fastest way for a team to identify their strengths.
It is.
And close the gaps in their leadership.
Right.
Which, when you create a healthy culture, your productivity is automatically going to rise.
So important.
Yeah. So it's fun
Yeah, it is. And it's not hard.
It's not hard.
This is the responses I'm getting from the people that we're working with. So again, to reiterate, there is no such thing as a silver bullet. There's a certain amount of intentionality and integration that you have to do with anything that we're going to offer you to work with in Langley Leadership Group. There's a certain amount of margin, certain amount of intentionality and integration into your culture at your organization, at your church, whatever, wherever you are right now. But it's not hard.
Yeah, it takes about 10 minutes to take the assessment.
12 minutes is the average assessment, and it's an awesome thing. So
and that will show you what work frustrates you, what work energizes you,
and then that was one of the most incredible things I got from Working Genius. It's like you start to understand like what type of work actually frustrates you, but also what actually energizes you to do work. So if you're watching this, that's one of the incredible products that these guys are promoting is Working Genius, because it does. Because sometimes we get into jobs or things like that, we think that because they make a lot of money or whatever. But if you understand like how you're made up and what actually frustrates you, to kind of types of jobs or tasks or whatever. But if you know what actually energizes you, you're going to be more apt to do that at a prolonged rate. So that's incredible. I love
you can sustain it for longer when you're working in your Working Genius.
And then, so they take the assessment, and then Laurie does a debrief with it could be an individual, it could be a married couple, obviously businesses and organizations.
We've done it with our family.
Team. And she puts together a team map, which is, and you kind of integrate the language into your organization, your culture. And you just engage in the geniuses of the people around you. And what I love about it too is for high level leaders, visionaries, people tend to feel less than or not as important in an organization. And so the Working Genius doesn't devalue the role of visionary leadership. It simply elevates the role of everybody
else,
because it takes everybody. Every job takes everybody if you're going to be successful, and if you're going to create a healthy culture in your organization and see the productivity, which improves your profitability, or whatever your key performance indicators are. If you create a healthy culture, you're going to see the rewards of that in every area of your organization.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that was really helpful for Tim and I, because we have a lot of, not only do we run an organization that has, a couple, we are a couple. We have a lot of friends who we know that as a couple, they are running key organizations. And when you talk about healthy leadership, then it's so important to also understand how much Working Genius helped us to be able to understand each other as a couple. So it not only, essentially helped obviously our marriage, but it helped us greatly. But it helped us to be able to be more effective in what we were called to do with visual testaments, and not limit us to things that we thought were outside limitations, when it was actually our level of communicating what we were passionate each about and what we were actively enjoying. I was trying to do something that I did not enjoy because Tim is strong in it. So I wanted to, of course, help him. And, when I realized that is Tim's joy.
Yes.
Tim's joy. It was so freeing for me to run in my lane, if you will, to understand that discernment is my joy, and really see the areas where he was trying to figure it out on his own, because he didn't want to bother me with trying, and so then he started leaning into, asking me more for discernment. So it literally, in so many ways, transformed how we do organizational leadership as a whole, not to mention our marriage. So thank you.
Same exact for us too. It was transformative for how we relate to each other, how well we know each other, and how we get work done. as a couple. We've done this assessment with our kids, our immediate family. We've done it with other families, with our organization, with other couples. We've done it. Certainly done it with the organization that we lead, Christian Life School of Theology Global, in addition to Langley Leadership Group. Done it there. Done it with my closest friends. I mean, it's just been really, really helpful in going about life.
Yeah, honestly, we have undervalued or overlooked the importance of organizational health in our organizations, in our ministry, in our business, whatever. And we tend to put the emphasis on skills and talents and abilities.
And loyalty.
A lot of things which they have their place. But until you have a healthy culture, a healthy marriage, a healthy business, you can do things, you can grind it out, gut it out, you can see a certain amount of progress or productivity, but nothing like what happens when you create a healthy culture. And so the working genius, I don't know of any other tool that just can so radically and immediately, quickly impact that area of life and business. So it really offers solutions. And again, that's kind of the area that Laurie especially emphasizes in Langley Leadership Group. But we've just seen tremendous results from Working Genius. So those are kind of the three, I would say, major elements: the Total Leader Program, the Jethro Project, and the Working Genius. And then we have some other things. We do some consulting and coaching, depending on the circumstance, and some one-off. Just, we're not necessarily looking for just somebody, hey, I'd like an hour appointment with you. We're really looking at how can we walk with you? How can we add value to your life? How can we develop relationship?
How can we really help your organization?
Right.
Or your...
I think that's where the free assessment is so amazing that you guys do that. I mean, it's amazing that you offer that tool to be able to really give leaders key areas where they can identify the areas where they feel like or may not realize they're hitting and missing. That was one of the big things that I've seen with other organizations that you guys have been a part of with this specifically, and seeing that they didn't even realize the blind spots they had, and it actually made it better, and not realizing. But I know, Tim, you had something.
I mean, so we're talking about the resources that you guys have, but what geographically, what is your guys' reach? Who can benefit? Like, do you guys have a far out reach, or how can people get attached to getting a hold of some of these resources?
I mentioned earlier that I got to work just yesterday, via a virtual meeting on Zoom with an organization in Los Angeles. So the thing that I really want people to know about Langley Leadership Group is, number one, that it's customizable.
Yeah.
This is a customized, we're not going to, put a one size fits all on you, your organization, your leadership team. If you're leading a church, your church, we are here to customize, to listen to you and figure out what it is that we have that is appropriate for where you are now and where you want to go, what you need to advance, to thrive, to flourish, to grow. So Langley Leadership is customizable. Number two, there's pretty much nowhere in the world we couldn't help people, which I think we all found out on some level through the pandemic that we went through a few years ago. So that we can do things via Zoom. We don't necessarily have to be in the same room in the same city. So it's been very powerful so far to do things. We've traveled as far as Freeport, Bahama. So far in doing this, we have traveled out of the country even to do some of this, but you don't have to be there in person.
Right.
So
depending on the circumstance. I like the idea. Some of the principles are the same, but the unique application of those principles are customizable to each business, each individual, each organization,
families.
So we walk you through that process of applying those principles to achieve. Like, we started everything with what's called a win-win goal, right? So we clearly define what the win is, and then we go to work on it. and then you see the outcome, reaching the goal, and you're like, wow, this really works, right? Because so we help you define that kind of clarity as to not just what you're going to learn, but how you're going to get where you need to go with what you've learned, right? Yes. So that's part of it. But it really, we're getting ready to launch a Master of Executive Leadership degree program through Christian Life School Theology Global. Wow. And so students can do that from anywhere in the world, right? Because we meet every other week in what we call a cohort. So it's an online digital meeting room where there's instruction, there's a peer feedback and accountability, but then in between the lines, then they're doing the work on their own time, around their own schedules and needs, and so forth. So it really, I guess COVID was really, really bad. But one of the good things that came about was we figured out how to expand our resources in ways that we hadn't figured out before. So now it's pretty acceptable, common, and actually preferred for a lot of people not to have to spend the money to travel, not to have to carve out the time to, and money for tickets to go somewhere. But sometimes you have to meet face to face. Yeah. But proximity no longer separates us and keeps us from advancing the mission. So that's exciting about it.
Yeah, I love that you guys are, you're not afraid of distance. You're willing to meet people where they're at. So I love that. As we transition, I just want to kind of go in the direction of the vision and the mission as we close this out of Leadership Group. And as for those that are listening who also are really aiming towards a vision and a mission of what they're called to do, I would just love to hear the vision and mission of Langley Leadership Group, and where do you see this going in the next year, 5 years?
Well, the mission of Langley Leadership Group is to serve leaders, serve people, individuals, and businesses or / organizations, because sometimes they're nonprofit organizations, but really to help them achieve, sometimes discover their purpose
and achieve,
but or help them define, refine, give them clarity to purpose.
So good.
A life without purpose is just like a ship without a rudder. You're just cast, you're just living, you're just going through the motions. So purpose is critical to joy and meaning and success, right? So, but it is to serve leaders and organizations to achieve their purpose and goals and realizing their fullest potential. So,
and that sounds vague, but again, going back to everything we've already said in our time together, it's very practical.
Yeah.
It's customizable and it's measurable. It's not theoretical. It's practical, and it will bring results that make a difference. And we've seen that already with the people and organizations we've worked with. So I love the idea of engaging with Langley Leadership Group for the purpose of, in service of, the idea of that kind of growth, that kind of advancement. And what Randal and I love to do, and what we want to instill and encourage, affirm in other leaders, because I'm sure a lot of leaders also love to do it, and that is to call out the gold in people. I feel like our services, and that what we're trying to do in Langley Leadership Group is to help people get from, like we talked about, the education and what they know and what they're trying to achieve to get there, and to call out the gold in them and to show them how you can achieve. I absolutely believe, more than I ever have in my whole life, that people can achieve what they're meant to achieve, what they desire to achieve, if they'll give themselves to the process of achieving it.
Yeah, and if they have the right guidance and the right resources and tools to help them achieve it. That's also important. It's like we obviously have a passion for kingdom, centric leaders, those that are building something beyond themselves and they want to touch the lives of other people. But it could be any entrepreneur, any business, any organization. We can work with all of them.
Yes.
But there's so many people in our what we call our spiritual circles who have this mindset. Well, if I just prayed more, or well, if I just everything's gonna be okay. God's just going to come down and do this, or my church is going to grow because we're spiritual, and that doesn't happen. And so you have a lot of discouraged, frustrated, sometimes the voices of guilt and humiliation. And I guess I'm not called to do this, everything that the enemy would want to do to keep people from fulfilling their purpose.
Right.
And really all they need is a Jethro to come into their life and say, no, you just need to adjust. Here's a track to run on. Here's this will set you up for success.
Yes.
So don't stop being spiritual. Don't stop praying. Don't
Right.
stop, all those things, because I wouldn't want to be a part of a church that wasn't praying, but there are churches that are very, what we would consider, not orthodox in their theology. And they're growing leaps and bounds, and it's because they have the leadership structures and systems and platforms in place that enable them to grow. So it's not either or, it's both. So a lot of times we can step into that environment and help set them
Right.
up for success.
Yes.
See, so that brings us a lot of joy. Or we can leverage, I've got years and years of education.
Yeah.
I've got years and years of experience, leadership, Laurie too. And I say I mean both of us. And unashamedly, I've invested. I don't think it would be stretching it to say tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
In my personal growth and development as a leader, right? And so sometimes one of the roadblocks that we have to people when they will say, well, that's too expensive, I can't afford it.
Yeah.
And when you say I can't afford it, there's two different ways to look at that. I can't afford it could mean I don't have the money, but I can't afford it could also mean what would happen if I don't invest in it.
Sure.
In other words, I can't afford not to do it. And that's been really more of our mindset. When we felt like something was going to advance our life's mission and purpose, then even though we felt like we didn't have the money, you find the money to do what you want to do, basically. And so for us, it was like, we can't afford not to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't do this, then the loss is going to be great. And we're not going to see the outcomes and the opportunities. So Zig Ziglar, remember, he said success occurs when opportunity meets preparation. So a lot of people, they wait till there's an opportunity
And then they're not.
and then they want to get prepared. It's too late. So you've got to sow and invest. And every good leader understands that principle. It's going to take an investment
Yes.
to get where I want to go. And so we're no different. So when I start talking to people and they say, well, I can't afford that, I want to make sure that are they really passionate about what they said they wanted to do? Because if that's true, then they've got to be willing to invest in the process and financially invest in what it's going to take to get them to where they want to go. You can't separate those two things.
Right.
Well, that's some solid principles, that we can all attest to. But thank you guys so much for spending the time and carving out this time, Dr. Langley, Laurie, for spending this time just unveiling what this is with Langley Leadership Group.
Absolutely.
And we speak that blessing over it, that it continues to flourish the way that it has, and it reaches the people that need to reach it. So you want to tell them how they can kind of get a hold of that free assessment day they're talking about?
Yeah. So we're going to make sure that we have the free assessment link to their website available in the description. So make sure that you check that out and make sure that you don't just look at it. Actually do, just like you've been listening, apply, take the application step, go ahead and click on it, You have absolutely nothing to lose and everything to gain. We're proof of it. And we highly, highly recommend this leadership program. We also want to make sure that you get back in touch with us and let us know that you've taken the free assessment.
Yes.
We would love to hear what you're excited about now that you've turned in that free assessment, because we want to cheer you on and be a great part of this. Thank you guys so much for doing this.
Thank
You're
you.
very welcome. God bless you guys. Thank you.